You're listening to Comics for Fun and Profit, and this is episode 221 of Comics Review with Kyle and Drew. We're looking at comics that were released May 20th, 2015. Always something bubbles to the top and is Kyle's pick of the week. Kyle, what was it for you?
Holy cow, holy cow, holy cow, Wytches, number 6.
Man, that was so good.
You hated this series for the last 3 issues, though.
I did, but they
And what did I tell you?
What
did I tell you?
Yeah.
I told you Snyder knew what he was doing.
He did. It was chock full of twists and turns.
Suspense, twists, turns.
Are we spoiling any of this stuff as we talk? Or are we just gonna...
We have to. I think we do. I hate to, because...
I think so.
I mean, by all means, feel free to pause this podcast, take a small break, read Wytches number 6, because it is well worth it. It is well worth it.
Or fast forward 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah. To get and then come back and read it listen to us after you've read it, because it's a great tie-in to the first arc. You know, when we last left our characters, of course, Sailor has been kidnapped and drugged to the bottom of the forest. She's down there and she's been pledged to the Wytches, and her father is coming after her. Her father is going to try to save her. He's gathered what he needs to do that from.
The guy who hung himself, right?
Yeah, from that guy whose name I unfortunately cannot remember. But he's come into this, the hive of the Wytches, I believe they called it, the hive. And he's going down, he's going to get his daughter back, he's going to rescue her, and he's going to get out of Dodge and get away from these crazy, crazy, crazy witch creatures. But intertwined in all this, we get some wonderful flashbacks to, because he's an author, he's a writer, and he's written these little stories about this boy who is alone in an abandoned amusement park and kind of his adventures within that amusement park. And there's a really great little monologue about his life with his children and how they really saved him from, with his child, with Sailor, and how she really saved him from a lot of the personal demons he had in his life. And, he's able to, he drags Sailor out of this hive. He runs back to the house, and his wife has been wheelchair bound this entire time, and we get a big twist where it actually turns out that the person that pledged Sailor to be taken and destroyed and killed was Mom.
What a biatch.
Yes. And why did she do that, Drew?
Because she was herself pledged.
Mm-hmm.
As a young child, and escaped by Rook, I don't know, some kind of trick. Mm-hmm. Pledging somebody else, pledging her parents or something. I can't remember. And she ran away, and then thought she had gotten away. But then did she kind of turn it and said, "It's actually your fault, husband. You're the one that, because of your insecurities and your neediness, they smelled that weakness and came back into our lives," or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
they're the reason she can't escape is because of him.
Yeah, and then she did the unthinkable and just suggested that they sacrifice their daughter. And if you're a parent, you know that's not really even on the table. Come on, that's a crazy thing for a parent to do. So she's a horrible woman.
But by doing this, she shakes the Wytches from following and speaking to her and haunting her for the rest of her days. And she also gets her wildest dreams imagined, and she can walk again. Or could she always walk? I think it's that by pledging the daughter, she regains the ability to walk. Does that sound correct?
Yeah, they gave her the power. They used their power to cure her and heal her.
Yeah, so by simply pledging your daughter to be essentially food for these witch creatures, she regains the use of her legs, and she and her husband can continue their life with a lot of prosperity and move on. And just, she's already removed all of Sailor's stuff from the house. She'll be very, very easy to forget. All they have to do is let them take her and move on. And
he said,
No, he says, sure. Okay, honey, that makes sense. And he looks like he's going to give his daughter up. And then, of course, he, at the end, makes the ultimate sacrifice and runs out and does everything he can to cause a distraction and get his daughter out of here.
What's with the pledge paint?
When the guy that hangs himself talks about that is essentially when somebody is pledged, there is essentially a smell or a liquid that's put on them that attracts the witches to their next pledge or their next prey. So that's, there's a plate where a sailor actually goes out and sprays a bunch of them with that. So there may be long-term ramifications between the witches and those people to see. I wonder if they all die or if they're going to continue on.
Yeah, I think this is going to go away for a while.
You think it's going to be a long hiatus?
Oh yeah, I mean this is a complete story. This was probably from reading the back matter and throughout this series,
a great back matter on this one too.
Yeah, this was a cathartic experience for Scott Snyder. He has a lot of demons he had to work through on writing this thing, and it sounds like he had some issues of self-doubt himself and parenting worries, and maybe his wife ain't the greatest. I don't know. But he seemed to have worked through all that stuff on the page,
which seems like a lot of creators actually do, because I've heard several interviews with Brian K. Vaughan where he talks about the cathartic nature of all the things that he writes, that you can kind of look to what he was struggling with in his life by what he's currently writing, and it looks like Snyder has that ability as well.
Yeah. But I think this was a really complete cathartic experience here on the page, and I would imagine he puts that down for a while, does maybe another thing along with Batman, and or maybe goes back to American Vampire for a while, and I imagine we will eventually get another Wytches. I'm not saying we won't get another Wytches, but I wouldn't think it'd be a month.
He speaks like he has a continuing story for this.
Yeah, I gotta believe that it'll come back with it. Hopefully, a different artist.
Okay.
That was what I don't think Jock was the best choice.
Okay.
I mean, maybe he was. It was so murky and so dark.
Now, when this comes back, do you see it coming back as Wytches 7 or Wytches : the trail ride or whatever?
Yeah. The Wytches are back, baby.
Yeah.
Number 1.
Yeah.
I don't see a Wytches 7 now.
This is an A. This book's an A, and I think with this book, if you're looking at the whole Wytches arc, I'm going to go with an A- for the entire first arc of Wytches as a whole. There's a couple little down areas there, but you can see the story being built, and when it all culminates on 6, it was all worth it.
I would give this last issue an A, and I would give the entire series a B.
Okay.
But yeah, you're right. This was a great last issue, and check it out when it's in trade. But I would be really surprised if it just pops right back up with another one. Yeah,
especially since it sounds like in the back matter that he was just now writing the second portion, or he had a story that was definitely not written yet. So it's not like he has this next arc even planned out, it sounds like.
Yeah. That's probably my pick of the week as well.
Mm-hmm.
But a close second for me is Resident Alien number 1 of 3. I might have mentioned the 0 issue a few weeks back, and this is a great series that pops up maybe once a year for a nice 3-issue miniseries. I think the first one came out back in 2012, and this is the 3rd volume, and it's a great fish out of water story. He's actually an alien that's crash landed here. He's stranded in America, and he is posing as a small town doctor, and he has the ability to kind of cloud his appearance to almost everybody. So most people can't; they just see him as a regular person, and he has some close people that figure him out. But it's just I think I might have mentioned it before, but it feels like, like your Murder, She Wrote style Matlock mystery type thing. He's like a crime solver. He's a really good guy, but there's always like this underbelly of some kind of government agency that's on his trail as well. And we had a 0 issue and we have the first issue. We've only got 2 more issues left. And we really haven't gotten into the meat of the murder mystery yet. So it's and it's just kind of exploring this author recluse that they've run into. Some of his books that a resident alien likes to read, and it's a cool comic. Has a cool setting. The art's great, but it's really the character that stands out for me. I really like this guy and root for him, and don't want him to get caught, and want him to solve the crime and someday get back to his homeland. But he seems to be doing well in our world, and it's cool. We can see him as a purple alien, but nobody else can, and that's kind of the coolest thing. That he just kind of just does normal, mundane things, but it's in an interesting way, and it's well portrayed. And this is really a under the radar title. So check out Resident Alien from Dark Horse. I would pick up any of the early trades, or you could pick up this Sam Hain mystery. This was that's currently on the shelves right now. This is a strong B+ from me.
Cool.
The Tithe #2 came out, and we were really high on the first Tithe. We both really liked it a lot. I didn't think the second one was quite as strong. What were your thoughts on it?
I still really enjoyed it. Of course, it's Matt Hawkins writing it. It's the story of a Samaritan, a vigilante group of individuals who we find out a little bit more is mostly one individual who is stealing from different megachurches that embezzle their money from tithes and offerings and use it for nefarious things or their own to line their own pockets. One thing I thought was awesome is I liked the very first page. It gives you your main characters. It gives you Dwayne Campbell, FBI agent, James Howard, FBI agent, Sam from Samaritan, Kyle, Rachel, and Mike, also from Samaritan. So I always like it when they brush us up on what our main characters are, and that was a thing that really impressed me. But when we first come in here, we get that they've thrown the FBI off of their trail. They've led them to a meth lab when they think they're tracking their van. They feel that is killing two birds with one stone, because by parking it there, they also clean the streets of a wonderful meth lab. So they have their own justification for most of these things. I really like the subplot of the fact that our secondary FBI agent, you can see that he's kind of like, these guys are right, and I'm kind of okay with them getting away with some of this stuff in a way.
Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah, James. And then you can also see that, Dwayne Campbell, the other lead FBI agent, is a very faith-based man in and of himself, and has differences of opinion as far as some of these churches are concerned as well. So my most fun thing that I'm enjoying with this is that I think slowly we're breaking down the FBI agents as well, especially when in this issue we see one of these mega churches that the FBI is trying to come alongside and help protect is actually awful to the FBI, and the amount of guilt that they have kind of causes them to toss the FBI off their property and treat them in such a way that that they're not able to even do their jobs to try to prevent this kind of thing from happening. So it kind of, you start to root more and more and more throughout issue 2 for Samaritan and the quote-unquote bad guys in this one. But
even when they're smuggling themselves into the church
in dead coffins,
inside of a coffin on top of other bodies with Jesus masks on, I think.
With Jesus,
so
yep.
Pick your sacrilege. They got them all the boxes checked.
Mm-hmm. But another thing we kind of worm into as far as the subplot is essentially this is Sam's baby. Samaritan is her, and it's her and an old boyfriend, and that old boyfriend has a cousin who has a girlfriend, and that is Samaritan. But the cousin who has a girlfriend, they're just kind of lackeys. It's really Sam with a little bit of help from Kyle, and Kyle is just in it to try to win Sam back. So really, all that we're going through with Samaritan and all that they're doing on this is really so much just focused around Sam. And I'm really, 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 really looking forward to learning more about her and what happened to her to push her towards this, and kind of some other aspects of this. So, it's been a very fun ride. I didn't see this. This one was still pretty good. I still really enjoyed this one. I still have this one, I believe, as a B+. a lot of subplots in this one. It kind of thickens out, you know. It's not just about the heist and what they're doing with the money after the heist. You're getting to know a little bit of your characters, and you're getting to break them down. You see a neat little thing where your FBI agent's Skyping with his wife, and Samaritan has kind of hacked into that Skype call as well. Innocently, it doesn't look like she's doing it for nefarious reasons, but just that she's ingrained in everything there, and that she seems to be 1 or 2 steps ahead of them in every recourse.
Yeah, I like I said, I wasn't as good as the first one, but I still enjoyed it. It's a B from me, and I'm curious if this will be a story arc, get 5-6 issues and we're done, or this is going to be in it for the long haul. I'm curious about that.
Yeah. Did you read the end stuff? Where he defined tithe. He went over tithing within the biblical church, prosperity churches in general, the Mormon versions of tithing, different church scandals, the Joel Osteen church, and the fact that it was legitimately robbed. If you think these churches don't have tons of cash, read this article. The ironic timing of this is the church was robbed on March 9th, 2014. You can ask Rashad Akidiel. I delivered the initial outline for this project the day before Joel Osteen's church was robbed.
So where was he on...
Yeah, exactly. and then there's a justification, and another subplot is within the course of the investigation when they go into that meth lab. Your main guy, Dwayne, has to kill a guy. So they talk about the biblical self-defense, because, it's a sin to kill. And how does this man who considers him a good Southern Baptist man, he just killed a man, and how does he justify that within his faith as well? So the back matter as well leads a lot to this book, and is absolutely well worth reading.
Yeah, which is true for all Matt Hawkins' book. He does a lot of research and shares it with us, and to show just what it takes to write in this world.
Yeah, and what he puts into it. That he doesn't just pick a subject and write it because he thinks it's interesting. He picks a subject and writes about it because it's usually close to his heart,
and he knows it. Inside and out. Mm-hmm. Now I feel like I'm contractually obligated to continue to read Moon Knight.
Did you give Tithe a grade?
Yeah, I gave it a B.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
And I don't know if I can recommend this to other people anymore.
This one wasn't bad.
It's not bad, but we're 15 issues in, man. And
no, we are 3 issues in on our 3rd creative team.
True. That's true. It just seems to get... Yeah. So it never really gets any traction, or when it does get traction, it gets derailed by a new creator. Mm-hmm. And this one wasn't a bad story. Yeah, he's going through some crazy stuff and seeing a lot of Khonshu, and there was I thought the last panel was kind of a cool reveal. I'm kind of curious what you thought of that.
Threw me for a loop.
So Khonshu, I mean, he ends up beating the boogeyman basically.
Yeah.
Mark Spector wakes up, after getting beaten to a pulp, and he's pleading with Khonshu. He's like, "Listen, you're supposed to be protecting me. You're supposed to be my dude in my corner." And he kind of works out a deal with him, I guess. And he's back in Khonshu's good graces, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
But he got beat to heck. And then he ends up, there's this boogeyman underneath this kid's bed that he ends up just blasting with guns, man. He's just shooting the thing over and over again and finally ends up killing it.
It goes very Red Hood and the Outlaws on him.
We thought he killed it.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, that's good. Wait, and then it utters with one of its last dying breaths the same exact plea to Khonshu, which is, "Khonshu, why have you forsaken me?" that he said while he was beaten and bloody.
Mm-hmm.
So, to me, that says he's the boogeyman, or Khonshu's got a lot of irons in the fire.
Yeah.
Which way were you going on that?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure this out because Khonshu is the god of travelers of the night, correct? And I'm just wondering what the why he would be. The boogeyman says he is harvesting these children as well. So I'm wondering if he's harvesting them for Kanju, or if there's some other ramification there. And also, I'm curious because at one point when he's blasting this boogeyman and he's almost dead, the boogeyman says "run," and he looks like he reaches under the bed. So I'm not sure if there was somebody else underneath that bed that he's trying to protect.
I mean, there was back when Moon Knight first came around in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Khonshu was mentioned, and it was part of the origin.
Yeah.
And it was kind of put on the back burner, and it was, him fighting criminals and villains and protecting people, and it was a cool story that just kind of continued. Now it just seems like it's this psychological evaluation over and over again, and it just gets deeper and deeper and darker and darker, and I don't know where we're going. I just don't know.
I'm not, real sure as well. Like, this is my first version of Moon Knight that I've ever read, and it seems like he's very beholden to Kanju for his power, and that Kanju has quite a bit of control over him, and is a very, very, very big part of everything that he does. And a lot more supernatural stuff in this than I really expected, between the ghosts that help him and the boogeyman and all that.
Or want. I don't want that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if I want that sort of stuff, that's good. That's Image stuff.
Yeah.
Not in Marvel. I don't want that in Marvel.
Yeah. I like the gunplay. I like that. I like the battle scenes. But
the art was great.
The art was okay. I still don't like the art as much, and just the fact that everything has these speckled blood splatters on every page now. But at least they got the color of the blood right in this one, so that gets them a little bit of bonus points in my regard, that we don't have weird purple blood.
Yeah. Not a happy book to read. Mm-hmm. It's not going to leave you, giggling throughout. It's a pretty depressing book. I gave it a C-.
I've got it as a B-. I don't have it in the C range. I still enjoyed it. I still had fun with it. I just, in that last page kind of went, hey, wait a second, what's going on here? But for, like you were saying, a book that's this many issues in, even if it is 3 different creative teams, it should have a little bit more footing with me than it does, and it unfortunately does not.
I'm sure it has the same editor.
Mm-hmm.
I would guess it would have the same editor to keep the... So it's his... I think it's his guiding vision that's the problem. So who's the dang editor on this? We're going to fire him.
The editor?
I'll look him up right now. Okay, Mr.
Nick Lowe is the editor. Jake Thomas, the associate editor. Alex Alonso, editor-in-chief.
Well, he probably doesn't even know how to spell Moon Knight. He's way up there.
Joe Quesada, the chief creative officer.
They're not paying attention either. So it's Jake Thomas and Nick Lowe. Jake Thomas probably just goes get coffee for Nick, who's really in charge. So Nick Lowe, get it together, man. Guide this book back to the promised land.
Before it has to go on hiatus for another 3 years and then come back with the 7th volume of...
Yeah, it's not... Yes, when Secret Wars is over, is it even going to be around?
Not with the numbers it's currently putting out.
Yeah, because it's in the 20s?
Yep.
30s? It's not in the 30s anymore, is it?
I don't believe so.
Oh, jeez. Jeez. Hey, you know what? If I had a surprise of the week, you know what it would be?
What's that?
It would be Mad Max over at DC.
Yeah, Vertigo title, I believe, right?
I was super surprised that I like this. The movie's been getting rave reviews, right? So when I saw this, I thought, well, I'll just check it out. So it's called Mad Max Fury Road, Nux, and Immortan Joe. So that's a stupid title.
Yeah.
But the first thing, as soon as you open up the first page, you get this really detailed art style of a tattooed man that has words written all over him that you can kind of zoom in on, and and look at some of the things that are written on his body. So the art is top notch. I think it's really kind of cool. And this thing is very dystopian, as you would imagine from a Mad Max book. The story's by George Miller with the script by Nico Lathoris and Mark Sexton. And the art chores are split between Mark Sexton, Leandro Fernandez, Riccardo Bercelli, and Andrea Muti. So there's a lot of people working on this book.
Mm-hmm.
And but yeah, it's a dystopian future, and we kind of open with this young child whose family's trying to provide for them in this battle world. Battle is like a Thunderdome situation, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like both parents get killed, but the baby, who can't be 3 years old, somehow jumps onto this platform and holds on for dear life because he wants to find his dad. And he's surrounded by these horrible warlords who just want to, see how long it takes him to die.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're getting a really good glimpse of the type of world we're in, and it's pretty nasty. And this is still this tattooed guy telling this story, and so I guess he's probably our narrator for the duration of this, and we meet some the kind of main bad guy who ends up taking camp after camp and killing people and taking their supplies and taking their women and children, and he gets to a fortress that he can't take, and so that becomes his holy grail. He has to take this. Is he Nux or Immortan Joe? He's Immortan Joe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nux is the kid. The
exactly.
little baby is Nix. Is Nux because he was.
He's a tough nut to crack.
Tough nut to crack. Yeah. So yeah, we continue to follow Immortan Joe's rise to power and taking this stronghold, and his trying to procreate an heir to his kingdom that isn't deformed
mm-hmm.
in this world. There's some, and that's kind of where the first issue ends. It's really a cool, surprising post-apocalyptic world, man. I really dug it, and it made me even want to go see the movie more.
Yeah, I really want to see the movie quite badly. I'm wondering how much more enjoyment I'll get out of this if I know the characters from the movie, because unfortunately not steeped much in the Mad Max universe at the moment.
Yeah. The only one I know is the Mel Gibson one and the Tina Turner one from Thunderdome. So, yeah, I wonder if am I ruining the movie for myself by reading this, or is this like issue 0 type stuff, or prequel type stuff?
This is going to be issue 0 type stuff. If you ask me, that's my opinion on it.
Yeah, that's my guess too. But I really was pleasantly surprised by this. Really enjoyed it. Surprised how much I liked it. So I gave it a A-.
I'm trying to think. I'm at an A- as well. I really enjoyed it. And it like you were saying, it gets you just that much more amped for the movie.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't even on my radar, this movie. I was like, yet another remake of a movie that doesn't need remade. But, the reviews have been good. It's done reasonably well at the box office, I think.
Absolutely. It's crushed.
It's crushed even in the wake of Avengers?
Even in the wake of Avengers, it's done way better than they thought it would. And it's, people are saying it's what you should model most modern action movies out of.
Yeah. So yeah, and now this makes me even more psyched to see it.
Mm-hmm. And good for DC having the rights to this and tying it in and timing it very, very well with that movie.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have rolled the dice on this. Mm-mm. There's no way. If I was the publisher, shows what I know. Hey, we had another issue of Capterra. Did that thing get any better?
It did. This is, mostly I read this because of Chip Zdarsky being the writer. It's Kagan McLeod on art. But I wasn't feeling it after the first one. But the second one is much, much more the humor style that I was expecting from Chip within the first one. So you get a lot more of the snarky nature of your main character, and he's always got a little quip or a quib, and it's very funny. I actually found this one quite humorous. You've got your motivational orb wandering around. A lot of weird creatures. He's riding on the back of all these different weird alien creatures, and there's a lot of neat little humor about, like, he's riding on the back of some lady who's half griffin, half human. So instead of like a centaur, she's half bird.
All right.
But all they can have a conversation of is his ball sweat while he's riding her from one place to the next. So there's a bit of fun little enjoyment out of it. It's much more the Zdarsky that I thought I was getting from issue 1 is what I'm finally getting from this one.
Can I pick this up without reading 1?
Yeah, you absolutely can pick this up without reading 1.
Because I thought I was lost.
Yeah. And this one gives you everything you need to. He's crash landed on the planet. When he crash landed here and we got sucked here, one of the warlords from this planet actually got sucked closer to Earth and is looking to take and destroy Earth. But Keith here from this world doesn't really care too much about Earth because he was kind of bullied and picked on and never really has anybody. So he holds no allegiance to whether our Earth is going to be destroyed or not. But he starts to have some feelings change, and perhaps he will. He's changing his mind, or beginning to at the very least. But there is some messed up creatures in this new world. We've got a cat lady who's riding, essentially, the creature that she's riding on is like a human. So there's some very, very odd stuff going on here. But this one, like I said, it found its humor much, much, much better than the first one did. They're night and day different books. Like, one is just not a good book at all, but this is a solid B, and this is fun. Plus, some of the observations and the writings in the back are fun to see how Chip Zdarsky kind of back and forth with his fans. So, all in all, like I said, this is a B. Much, much, much improved over number 1.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Star Wars number 5 continues the hot streak of the Star Wars properties for Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I actually would rank this as my third favorite book, behind that Kanan book,
mm-hmm.
and Darth Vader being my favorite.
Yeah.
Of the Star Wars titles, but that's just because Cassaday just keeps trying to capture the likenesses of Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher and Mark Hamill, and he just fails, and their faces continue to change from panels to panels, and it drives me nuts. I wish he would just give up. I wish he would just find any kind of face that he wants and then stick with that model. And not, I don't know what he's doing, if he's doing some kind of photorealism stuff with like pausing Blu-rays or something and sketching them in different. But it's killing me. It's killing me. It's taking me right out of the story because they're just off.
Yeah. Are you looking at the book now?
Yeah.
Go right to the part where the TIE fighters open up and fire at the stolen ship that she and Han Solo are in.
We're looking about halfway through.
Yeah, there's a panel that's one of the panels is the very first time you see green lasers shoot out of the TIE fighters, and right above that is kind of where Han accidentally grabs the steering wheel.
Okay.
Are you there?
Yeah.
Just look at, like, Carrie Fisher looks absolutely awful in that panel. It looks like, like a 4-year-old has drawn that. So there are definitely inconsistent panels that completely take you out of this book.
Yeah, sometimes his face gets stretched horizontally.
Yeah.
So much that he looks like Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah. Yep.
And I'm like, what are you doing, man? I mean, it doesn't have to be likeness.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you're doing, do it differently.
Yeah.
Because it's not working. I mean, sometimes it's a really cool rendering of a Luke Skywalker type. It doesn't look like Mark Hamill. It just looks like a young Jedi kid that could be Luke Skywalker, and I'm like, fine with that. But then he'll revert. And he'll go back to trying to do Mark Hamill again.
Yeah, and like he accidentally draws like really fat sand people, which you're not allowed to have.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
I thought, his droids are good. I thought his Boba Fett was good, and the story is solid.
You're a Boba Fett apologist here. What did you think of the personality of Boba Fett here in this?
I don't think it matches. I really don't think it matches with how he is.
He's absolutely sadistic. he talks way too much. He's much more of an ominous character when he says very little. But this one, he's just yammering and yammering and yammering, and it completely changes the way I see him as a character. You know, he's always the strong, silent type. But in this, he's just like talking and talking and talking, and like
it won't be long before we see him take his helmet off.
Yeah, and then he just murders this kid for no real reason, and like he's got a bunch of knives. Why does Boba Fett have 45 knives? What good are knives in this space universe with blasters and lightsabers? Who has friggin' knives? That doesn't make any sense anyway.
Yeah. So who needs to go stabby when you can go pew pew pew?
Yeah, exactly. Dude has a rocket for some obscure, stupid reason chained to his back. So, like, I hated the characterization of Boba Fett in this one. I thought it was completely
And you didn't
awful.
like him to begin with.
Yeah, I feel like he's kind of one of the most overplayed characters in cinema. He has like 14 seconds of screen time, yet this big cult following for no real reason, and I don't get it. It kind of bothers me. Just because he has cool armor, everybody's like, he's got to be the greatest character ever, so we keep writing things for him. But like in this one, you find it's a misstep because he has an awful voice, and he's just this weird sadistic, I'm going to, slowly torture and cut guys' arms off, and then I'm going to torture a young kid, and then when he gives me the information, I'm just going to shoot him in the back. And
that was rough. I don't understand.
And
I guess it shows he's evil, I guess.
I guess it shows he's an evil character, but I think he would be better served had he said very, very little.
Yeah.
Which is the Boba Fett that we're used to. So, like, I thought this was a C.
Oh, I didn't go that low. I'm at a B minus. But it's...
So you're at a B minus, but you didn't like the art. You weren't real
like
keen
the
on
art.
the story.
No, I just didn't like the art. I still enjoyed the story. I thought the story was fine.
Okay. I mean, the
stuff as you were pointing the stuff out about Boba Fett, I was like, oh yeah, I didn't really pick up on that when I was reading it. I was just kind of shooting through, and then I kept getting taken out of the story by his art.
And even the back and forth between Han and Leia seems forced. It seems like they're trying to recreate the "I know" line so much, and so much of the back and forth that we know that it leads up to but it doesn't feel genuine.
Well, I trust Jason Aaron.
I do too, and I love Jason Aaron, but like I don't like one of the characterizations. I don't like what they did with the character. I'm not a big fan of the art, and the 50% of this book is interactions between Han and Leia, and I didn't like it.
But I think I'm gonna stick it out.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
I'll stick it out for a while.
Yeah. This is just one little place that they're on and one little place that they're going.
And I think they're losing. I think Cassaday's leaving, and they're getting Stuart Eminem.
Okay, that'd be great.
And so I don't know if that's issue 6 or 7 or how far down the road, but I can't wait for that. Mm-hmm. And I'm hoping it's got to be a marked improvement. So that's what I'm waiting for. And I'm gonna start paying a little more closer attention because I think I have a...
You're blinded like your boyhood love for Star Wars here.
Yeah, I am. You're right. And I've never been like that with the Dark Horse versions until the Brian Wood volume that came out that took place in the same time period between the two movies, between the New Hope and Empire. When they did all that legacy stuff and I don't remember what they were all called in Dark Horse. There was tons of them, but I never got into any of that stuff. And I've heard it was good, but I just was never into any of that because it wasn't canon. So this stuff really appeals to me. It really hits my sweet spot. So I'm gonna complain and whine around about it, but I'm still gonna read it all.
Gotcha.
Until I don't. What did I say? Did I even give it a grade?
Yeah, you were at a B minus.
I'm at a B minus. Yeah, that's right. Spider-Verse #1. Now wait a minute. We just finished Spider-Verse. It's back already.
Yeah, we finished all the Spider-Verse, but of course with Secret Wars, we've got to go back into Spider-Verse. Where is that synopsis I was going to read? I don't think it's in this one. But essentially, the 616 and the 1610 have come together or whatever. But this is an alternate. This is not what were you saying? Okay. The multiverse was destroyed. The heroes from Earth 616 and Earth 1610 were powerless to save it. Now all that remains is Battleworld, a massive patchwork planet composed of the fragments of worlds that no longer exist, maintained by the iron will of its god and master Victor Von Doom. Each region is a domain unto itself. It sounds very much like what DC just did.
Yeah, it is. It is very much like that, but it's much better executed, and I was actually fascinated by the Doctor Doom planet and his minions, and how he had all these Fantastic Four people working for him, and it was actually a cool story. It wasn't as weird as Convergence was.
Yeah, and in this, it's cool that they've got instead of God bless you, they say Doom bless you and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it gives you kind of this existence of, Doctor Doom being the overlord of this.
So you're getting this from the synopsis because you didn't read issue 2 of Secret Wars.
I did not.
Okay.
But I did read issue 1 from this, and this we have of course Spider-Gwen, because she is the hot character from everything. So she is essentially leading this book. We have your British Spider-Man, which I did not like that much from Spider-Verse.
Right.
You have your kind of Pakistani version of Spider-Man. He's super intelligent and kind of trying to figure this world out. And then, of course, you have our good friend Spider-Ham.
Oh, he's back.
Why not? And you get the chick who's in the black suit, whose name, unfortunately, always seems to escape me. But they are in a world where Spider-Man has disappeared years ago and is no longer in this universe that they currently are in. But it's just for all that's around Spider-Gwen and how much people like her, she's kind of flat as a character. And she continues to be flat in this. In this one, she actually works for Oscorp. And, Oscorp has a special projects lab that she's trying to infiltrate. And when she finally does infiltrate it, that's where she finds good old Spider-Ham holed up in there and being tested upon. And, she's trying to figure that out. And then good old Parker pops in. So Parker's alive in this universe, and we got to figure out what's going on with him. But like I said, it's just kind of.
What's the point?
I'm not sure where they're going with this one. This may just be yet another vehicle for these characters that we hope people like from Spider-Verse. So why not try?
Yeah, people like them. So here's another one of their adventures. But there's really no stakes.
Yeah, and then you've got a backup story, "Pig in the City" by Mike Costa, where you have Spider-Ham just bumming around, essentially. So, I mean, it was...
Do I read this? Do I need to read this?
No, absolutely do not read this. Absolutely do not read this.
Okay.
It's so far not worth reading, but we'll see if there's anything overarching in this, or if it's just a matter of just fodder, essentially. And I said Parker at the end. I think it's actually Oz. I think it's the son in this. So I can't even tell the characters apart, unfortunately, in some of these instances. But yeah, Osborn. So I mean, it's just a generic Spider-Gwen plus some of these multiverse people story from an alternate universe by Victor Von Doom. But so far, it doesn't look like anything really has ramifications at the moment. But we shall see. But if you really enjoyed Spider-Ham, the British Spider-Man, and Spider-Gwen, sure, give it a shot.
I mean, what did you give it a grade?
It's a C. It's just an average book.
Well, I mean, like the Convergence minis, none of those mattered. I mean, they happened, and
there was no ramifications really.
But yeah, they just ended, and that was that.
So does that mean like if my Hawk Girl and Hawk Man died, I should just burn those books because they didn't really exist now, or?
Well, what I guess I understood is that the creators that were brought on to do those characters for the 2-issue miniseries, they have the option. So I guess some or all of them have the option to continue to write those characters if they want, and then DC has the option to continue to publish them if they want. So we might see those characters again, but
still on that planet under a dome, or formerly under a dome,
or is it just? I mean, depending on how Convergence ends, I haven't read 8 yet, but depending on how Convergence ends, if everybody reverts back to, I don't know where are they all going to Earth too? I'm not sure yet. Yeah. So we'll have to figure that out, and then the problem is like the Nightwing Oracle storyline.
Mm-hmm.
How does that exist? And the current Batgirl and Bayside or Burnside exist, and some of the other versions exist simultaneously, unless you have multiple Earths.
Yeah. And
if you don't want to do multiple Earths, I don't know how you're going to pull this off. I mean, you gotta have some kind of multiversity going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, DC. I don't know if you've simplified things or made things much more complicated.
They've made them simpler for me because I'm just done with them.
Yeah, it's a nice little break.
Yeah.
It helps with the wallet, gives you more time to read other books. It is kind of nice. It's a nice palate cleanser.
Thank you for the break.
Now, this book from Valiant called Ninjak.
Ninjak. I've been calling it Ninjak. You said, is it Ninja K? And I'm going with Ninjak because it's all one word.
Well, it's like it was your review of the first one where you said there were multiple ninjas that had different letters. Mm-hmm. Like there was a Ninja A, a Ninja B. So this was Ninja K, right?
I'm unaware. But essentially, we're dealing with Ninjak. He is a spy and mercenary for hire. He is also a guy, Colin King. He's a wealthy son of privilege. He's British MI6, and he is currently infiltrating Weaponeer, a criminal empire that designs weapons for the highest, most illicit bidder. So he is
Stark.
Yeah, exactly. He's kind of infiltrating as a businessman, trying to gain good graces of the leader of Weaponeer. He's murdering people for him, anything he can do to seem genuine and actually get into this organization. And once he's finally in, he spent the first 2 issues, doing all he can to get in, and he then takes his opportunity to knock out the leader of Weaponeer. He gives him a specific poison that kind of knocks him out for 30 minutes so that he can kind of infiltrate his computer system and essentially get some dirt on him, because he knows if he just kills the main guy, they'll just get another main guy. And what he has to do is he has to ingrain himself in this organization, become the CEO, and then take it down from the inside. But as he's attempting to do that, he is this woman that is Roku. He is the bodyguard of the main guy. She's this created super amazing bodyguard that her hair is made of razors and can just cut everything, and she has like telepathic powers to just have people kill themselves and everything. And she catches him running around trying to snoop through these things as Ninjak during that 30 minutes that he has to try to do what he can before his cover would be blown. So you've got a countdown throughout this whole book as he's got 10 minutes to get back there, 5 minutes to get back there. Meanwhile, he has to get in a fight with this girl and try to survive, just how deadly he is. And then as they get in a fight, he then realizes he has to wipe the security cameras so that there's no evidence of him being there, so that because he's planning on killing the female bodyguard, so that she can't say who she was fought by or what's going on. So if he can just kill her, throw her off this building, delete the cameras, and still get back within 30 minutes, his cover will not be blown. He'll have everything he needs to infiltrate this organization and get back. So you're dealing with that and him running into just illicit bodyguards on there. There's a lot of suspension of disbelief in this because, he's the smartest guy I've ever seen. He's the best fighter I've ever seen. He's the most privileged, always the best, always 2 moves ahead, all the best technology. Like, the deck is insanely stacked in Ninjak's favor in every way, shape, and form. So there's a little bit of suspension of disbelief in that because he's got everything. You can't see a situation that he doesn't seem to be prepared for or be able to, essentially come out on top of. So, you follow through him, you're flashing back to him as a boy being... It's the Batman. You've got him being raised by essentially an Alfred type character. But what if Batman hated Alfred instead of loved Alfred? So, like, you have this kid, instead of, grafting on to Alfred's kind of tyrannical in this one, he, puts an explosive bomb in one of his Matchbox cars and tries to kill him. And then he runs off into the wood and hides for, like, 2 years outside of the mansion, killing rabbits and learning to survive on his own, just so he doesn't have to live with his butler.
That's amazing.
So there's some flashbacks to that while they're doing the rest of this stuff. And then, he gets back, the countdown's to, 5, 4, 3, 2, and he seems to have made it back in one piece, but the chick's not dead, so it looks like his cover's blown. And then, so it's actually a really good cliffhanger at the end of this one. And then we've been getting a backup story from essentially one of his first covert operations, and kind of the things that he did wrong when he was very, very young in the Secret Service. Ninjak was. So that's an interesting story about one of his first assassinations gone wrong and the ramifications from that. So actually, I really enjoyed this book. I was going to read the first one, and I didn't have really any interest in continuing on, but I believe it was a suggestion from Mike Myers to continue on this, and I'm actually very glad I have. I quite enjoyed this one. It left on a really good cliffhanger that I can't wait to read the next one, but from looking at the solicit, it looks like the next one's might not be exactly a continuation. We might get a little bit more about the bodyguard chick, the Roku.
Oh, okay.
So I may have to wait a little bit longer to get the answers I need after the end of this one. But
it's very lengthy.
It's very well done. It is Matt Kent.
Oh, Matt Kent does the writing. Okay.
Yeah, Matt Kent doing the writing on this one. So,
and the art's solid.
The art's very solid. It's very Batman meets Secret Service-ish. So there's all these little gadgets to draw. There's a lot more blood. Each issue for the last 2 has started with kind of a spotlight on one of either the gloves or the boots of the character. But instead of like, if you're looking at the boots and you're like, it's got an adjustable 4-kick heel blade. But instead of talking about the blade, they spend the whole time talking about, this character kind of has no pain sensory and all this stuff. So it's a very weird breakdown of the equipment where they really don't talk about the equipment on the first page. It's kind of neat and well done, and I'm actually really enjoying the book. So it's an A-, and I'm glad I continued on it.
Nice.
It's worth catching up. I think you should give it a shot through at least this 3.
Is this the only Valiant book you're reading?
It is. I dropped Kitchen. No, I just read...
That's Vertigo.
Oh, that's right, Vertigo. Yeah, this is the only Valiant book I'm reading.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
That's cool. I might have to check out that.
Give it these 3 and tell me what you think. Because, like I said, it's a little too much because, he's the best equipment. He's the smartest. He's the best. He's great. He's Superman in a ninja suit. But it still seems to work.
Yeah. Cool. Did you read anything else this week?
That's all I have.
Awesome. Well, I read a few things, but nothing that really stands out that I want to talk about. And we're getting close to an hour, so let's call this puppy. We want to thank you for listening to Comics for Fun and Profit. This has been Comics Review with Kyle and Drew. This has been episode 220.
221.
So, 221.
Yeah.
Did I say 220 at the beginning?
If you did, you were wrong, and I wasn't paying attention.
Oh, man. Let's go edit
Let's start over. Thank you for listening to Comics.
Anyway, go to comicsfunprofit.com for all our links to be able to connect with us in a variety of ways, and we'd love for you to subscribe, rate us, and review us on iTunes. Mm-hmm. Words don't work right now.
I forgot to mention the YouTube channel last one. Crap.
Oh yeah, we're on YouTube if you want to watch at work and then play us on the YouTube streamer. It works that way as well now.
Plus an easy way to integrate comments and chit chat with us.
Well, that's true. Yeah. I probably shouldn't have turned comments on. Who knows what we'll get?
Trolls.
Yeah, there you go. Anyway, thanks for listening.
See ya.